Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. What would you say if I told you you can lead a rich and intentional life? That is what my next guest is all about. Stan Gibson. He's an author, speaker, and coach. He's a corporate executive turned author who has become a very sought after speaker throughout the United States for his message that both inspires and engages others to greatness. Stan, I know you have a fantastic story, and I want to talk about that and talk a little bit about servant leadership, which is something I know our listeners talk all about frequently. Stan, in 30 seconds or less, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks so much. Hey, thanks for having me on. I'll tell you what, I have been in either leadership or entrepreneurial roles for several decades. And I wrote a book called Living a Rich and Intentional Life. Never let a good pandemic go to waste. I had been studying and researching leadership for my entire life. And to be very honest with you, I'll tell you what happened. About 10 to 12 years ago, I had a friend that he came over to my wife and I, and he said, you know, I won't let you know. He said, I've got cancer and I've got like a 50-50 chance of living 5 years. And when he said that, it just blew me away. And because I didn't know what to say, and he looked at me and he just said, you know what? When death becomes certain, life becomes rich. When death becomes certain, life becomes rich. And when he said that, it was like, why do we wait to get sick to get well? Why do we wait to let our jobs go in disarray and to get a pink slip and to do all these things before we start to take care of ourselves? So I really kind of ramped up my practice of research, the neurological research, the physiological research around sleep, around nutrition, around the brain, how it works, what separates good leaders from average leaders. And so I do a lot of public speaking, a lot of keynote speaking, a lot of corporate speaking around this topic. And I work with teams on trust and how to have trust in. So that's my quick story about living a rich and intentional life.
Absolutely, and so grateful for you coming on and your passion in this area. So one of the things that you write about, certainly in living a rich and intentional life, but also in your many speaking engagements, is about people-centric leadership. And one of the things that we speak about on this program all the time is how entrepreneurs need to be able to turn to other folks. I want to start there from the entrepreneur's perspective. You've talked about building your own board of directors. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I tell you what, you look at any of the largest organizations in the world. They've all got boards of directors. Why? Because you know what? They want to find the brightest, the smartest. They want to find impartial people that will tell them the truth when they need to hear the truth. They find people that are in all aspects of life, whether it be revenue, whether it be finance, whether it be human resources, whether it be diversity, equity, inclusion. But they find this group of people in this very diverse room that will basically speak truth. And these organizations are worth millions and millions and sometimes billions of dollars. And when I work with clients, I say, how do you put a price tag on you? Aren't you worth that? Why don't you have a board of directors? Why don't you have a set of people that will speak with truth and love to you whenever you need to hear it? So I do that, and I have a board of directors, and my clients have boards of directors, and it's in every aspect of their life, whether it be finance, whether it be spiritual accountability, whether it be their dentists, their doctors, their business mentors. And the amazing thing is, we're in such a great place of life that emerging leaders have a benefit that there are so many wonderful leaders that are retiring. They would love nothing more than for you to give them a call and say, hey, could we have coffee, maybe virtual or in real life, IRL, once a quarter. So having a board of directors is just somebody that you are a company, you are an organization, you are an asset that shouldn't be denied from good advice.
Absolutely. And I want to change gears for just a moment. We talked about building your own board of directors, which is great. But let's talk about, leading teams of people. A common term is servant leadership. But what advice do you have for a business owner when it comes to, again, being that leader that folks can depend on as a coach, as a mentor, and really helping to develop subordinates?
It's a great question. And I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how many clients I have that say, help me become a good leader. And I said, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to help you to become a good coach, because I have a very firm belief in that is that, when leaders learn to coach, employees learn to lead. When leaders learn to coach, employees learn to lead. And so many times, we get elevated in our position because, we've become very good at our craft, but we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to flip the script, and we start to enable everybody as opposed to start to lift them up. So it's a very different skill when you get into a leadership position as opposed to kind of your ascent to the top. So
Absolutely.
I work on that. And the second thing I work on is I do believe very strongly, if you're not good at home, you're not good at work. If you're not good at work, you're not good at home. You got to get both right.
And
so
I don't
we
want to
work a
share
lot
all
on
the
that.
secrets, Stan, so I want to make sure we send people over to Living a Rich and Intentional Life, because exactly as you said, it's professional, it's personal, and I know you live and breathe this stuff. Stan, how can people get a copy of the book and get in touch with you?
Well, it's on Amazon. And again, Living a Rich and Intentional Life with Stan Gibson. And if you would, I'd love to have you go to my website at oxygenplusleadership.com. And there I'll give you 7 tips to a people-centric leadership. And I'll also give you my tips on how to lead a rich and intentional life.
Fantastic. Stan Gibson will link in our show notes. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.